Hi everybody, it's Mia from FIS here, and today I'm lucky enough to be joined by David Wood from the newly founded Lyanna Cocktail Co. Lyanna is an interactive cocktail experience with 3 handmade classic cocktails, each with a corresponding video featuring a virtual bartender who talks the consumer through the experience. Hi David, how are you doing today?
Yeah, very good.
For joining us. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. I'm so excited to kind of pick apart the Lyanna Cocktail Co because you're kind of a new business on the block, and it sounds, by the sounds of things, you've been doing really well. So together we're going to be exploring the rise of DIY food and beverage kits, or as the industry has recently branded them, insperiences, with subscription companies such as Chef, Gusto and HelloFresh now facing competition from restaurant chains like Gourmet Burger and Pizza Pilgrims offering a similar in-house service. The market has quickly become saturated with choice for consumers. Lyanna is just one of the companies offering this service, and I can't wait to dive into this deeper. So David, I'm intrigued about your launch of Lyanna. It seems to have come at such a perfect time with the rise of hype around in-home kits. Did the Cocktail Co come about out of need during lockdown, or was it something that you were already considering pre-lockdown?
Well, firstly, thanks a lot for having me. It's nice to meet you. And I think, to be honest, we were forced into a position to pivot our existing drinks distribution business following the closures of bars and restaurants in the UK in March. We were faced with a choice of either making the team redundant or fighting back to create a new revenue stream. And in a 6-week period from kind of around early May to late June, the entire team came together, and through various kind of Zoom calls and phone calls, we created a new brand, we created a supply chain. We worked with the HMRC to make sure we're doing everything legally and above board. Yeah. And we went to market. And the Lyanna Cocktail Company was born, which is the world's first interactive cocktail experience. We use QR codes to bring a virtual bartender wherever you are. And our kind of simple core beliefs that we celebrate simple classic cocktails using exceptional independent brands, which is really what our core business, the Lyanna Collection, was doing before COVID hit.
Okay, wow, that's so exciting. Congratulations to start with. That's such a success story. We know that it's been so difficult for so many small as well as large businesses during this period. And I think it's so reassuring to see that you're having to be forced to adapt, and it's really shone through and paid off. You've obviously been brave and using innovation and adaptation, and it's all credit to you. You've done really well. I think that's such a key message for any business during this time to take away, is that for F&B businesses to remain current and forward thinking despite the difficulties is essential just in surviving during these kind of weird times. And what's been the response to the launch? You know, we know that there's been this surge of DIY meal kits and beverage companies. How successful have you been?
Yeah, to be honest, the response has been pretty overwhelming. So in the first week, we met with Sainsbury's, we met with Waitrose, we had various different investment companies approach us, which I thought was cool, and a massive distributor in the States. We sold out the first run within the first kind of two to 3 weeks, which paid everybody's salary in the team and kept everybody working with us, which I think is kind of was initially the main focus of the business, which is awesome. And we've had so many responses from people who have loved their experience and who've shared their experiences online, and kind of we get messages now saying, when is the next experience? What's the future of your business? And it's really exciting, and I'm very proud of the way that we've managed to pivot our existing company.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Honestly, I think you're an inspiration to so many businesses out there who have been kind of afraid to do that. So all credit to you. I don't know whether you know this, but coming out of lockdown, the experience sector, which includes kind of the at-home workouts, at-home food and drink experiences, is actually now worth 168 million, which is quite phenomenal, given that, you know, it's only 3 months that we were in effectively a different world. Do you think that this is kind of a fad that's going to come and go as quickly as it kind of came around, or do you think it's a permanent fixture that's here to stay and actually a reflection of a change in consumer behaviours?
Yeah, I think it was so interesting watching people and behaviour change during lockdown, and I think it's assuring, assuming there isn't a second wave, there's bound to be certain legacies from the rise of the so-called in-experience. I thought what was really interesting talking to the kind of bigger retailers is that in 2008 and 2009, after the financial crash, there was a massive trend in upgrading at home in luxury items, in what I guess was a similar kind of, trading up at home for an experience that you couldn't necessarily have outside of the home because it was too expensive. I think that's likely to be hyperinflated, given that going to the pub or going to a restaurant isn't going to be an option for a lot of people that may be in the at-risk categories or maybe don't want to be putting themselves in that position. A recession's also, in my opinion, pretty inevitable, which means people will be looking to be cautious with their spending, and I think that will come down to the quality of the offer. The competition will without doubt be pretty high. I mean, for example, Pizza Pilgrim's pizza in a frying pan, which we had during lockdown, was exceptional activation, and I presume something they put together quite cautiously, but something I would certainly do again today. And I think the other thing is, I'm looking at since lockdown and over the last couple of weeks, I look at my own buying patterns, and my girlfriend and I last night, we moved into week 2 of HelloFresh, and I would put them in the category of experiences, and it's saving us an enormous amount of money. It's brilliantly executed. It's convenient. It's healthy, and it's one of 5 or 6 areas that our lives have changed, I would say, permanently. Another good example of that would be at-home workouts, which Vixie, my girlfriend, now does, having cancelled her gym membership. So the legacy is definitely going to be there. I wonder if it will be the same degree as the height of lockdown, but without a doubt, we're living in a slightly more digital world.
Yeah, completely. And you mentioned that there have been complete changes in consumer behaviours, and it can be so difficult for businesses to kind of keep up with all of those changes. I know that our sister company, Good Sense Research, is one of the things they've been doing throughout lockdown and kind of moving forward into a new era is tracking consumer behaviours and reporting that back to businesses to help them keep up to date with exactly what businesses are doing. But you mentioned that people are asking you kind of what's the next move for Lyanna, the Lyanna Cocktail Collection. What is it? Where do you think the industry is going? Where can it develop into?
It's really interesting. I think there's 2 kind of obvious avenues that it could evolve. And I think kind of the 2 obvious avenues would be, one is gifting, which is where we've seen a massive amount of interest in our experiences. The second is as a marketing tool for similar businesses who want to get their brand out and for people to actually consume their product at home. With that in mind, there would then need to be a more consumable product offer. And for us, our strategy for the future is going to be more of a pick and mix option. So we will have regular releases with the cocktail boxes, which are probably going to go down the route of subscription, although that's yet to be finalised. But to use every time we release a new box, in a weird way, it's an amazing way to market the new drinks that we've created, and it'll then allow people to go onto our website or into certain retailers and pick the cocktails that they loved from that experience and the quantity that they would like. So we're going into gifting, going into a kind of a subscription model, but then going into single ready to drink units that people can pick and mix for whatever occasion it might be, a dinner party or going down to the park or whatever it might be.
Yeah, I think that sounds so exciting. I mean, imagine having like a specials range for Valentine's Day versus a Christmas range or something. I think a lot of businesses probably like Lyanna Collection have used this time to kind of test the waters in something, start a kind of at home or a experience or a pop-up or something a little smaller than a solidified brand on the shelf, and then see what the response is, and if it goes well, can then expand it post lockdown, which is obviously sounds like what you're doing, and it's a really useful way of going about it. For someone that might be, or a business that might be considering going into this space, into the experience, the at-home subscription, what advice would you give to someone if they wanted to start a delivery kit?
We made a really conscious decision to create something for the long term, but also something that was really relevant at the time, which was lockdown at the time. But we wanted something that was going to be successful regardless of a pandemic being present. And my advice really would be, don't create something that's only going to be relevant while people are stuck at home. Yeah. And number two is that the execution does need to be as good as you can possibly make it. I think in the early days of when cocktail experiences or food experiences or kind of baking, through letterbox gifting first launched during lockdown, consumers were pretty sympathetic to the times. And I think what we'll find over time is, as the competition increases, if you get it wrong and the product isn't executed to a good enough level, then you're going to be pretty exposed. So they would be my bits of advice.
Yeah, no, that's such good advice. You're right. It's got to be current, but it's also got to be, looking at longevity, in that how can we adapt? How can we carry on keeping current? I think as well, there are, a number of things to consider when you're starting a brand like this. But I think I find that a real issue for some of these takeaway companies in particular, but as well as, at-home delivery kits, is ensuring that the customers or the consumers experience the product, be it a meal or a drink, as the brand intended it. There's always the risk, I find, that a product might not travel well. The ingredients, for example, in your cocktails may become damaged. And, we spoke about previously. So by the time the consumer actually comes to drink the drink or eat the food, it's a completely different experience, and it's the ghost of what the original and what the chef or the mixologist originally intended. So, as we're finding that as the distance between these products are traveling from the kitchen or bar to the consumer increases, whether it's takeaway or an experience, the correct instructions, recipes and packaging become so important, and adapting those as you adapt your product. What have you done with Lyanna Cocktail Collection in particular, that you ensure that your consumers are experiencing it as you meant it to be experienced?
Yeah, I think we definitely had a big responsibility, and we were very cautious of this, because essentially with our brand, we're telling the stories of other people's products, and our experience is led by QR codes, which give you your access to your virtual bartender, and that bartender will talk you through stirring down your cocktails. And then also how to add your garnish and what garnish to add. So from a consumer point of view, there's a real lovely engagement there, but actually the process is less about mixing different components, and it's more about allowing our expert team who make the drinks in the first place to make an exceptional product that just needs finishing off. And I think that's how we kind of dealt with that issue. That there are a lot of kind of there's a lot that can go wrong with making cocktails, and I think the world of a cocktail kit that has 5 or 6 different components, and the person at home is expected to make up a world-class drink, there is a lot that can go wrong, and I haven't seen anyone execute that really, really well yet. And we were conscious of that, so we didn't want the brands that we work with not being represented well, and by having a slightly more simple, clear step-by-step guide on our menu and through the videos, hopefully that kind of quality control is kind of negated, and the feedback on that has been brilliant, actually.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's such a great idea, and maybe that's something that other brands can learn from. Just making sure that clarity is there, so there's no confusion or disruption for the consumer experience. But let's look to the future. What do you think the future holds for the Lyanna collection? Where do you see it going? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, I think with things have moved really quickly within the bar industry, and our kind of main focus as an overarching company is to support cocktail bars and support independent brands. So the first thing that we'll be doing is actually launching our next box towards the end of August, and this is going to be, I don't want to go too much into the details. It's a really exciting project that we've paired with a selection of bars, we've paired with a selection of independent brands, and we're going to be releasing a short film telling people about exactly what's going on in hospitality at the moment, which is really shocking. You know, this morning on the news, there was another story of Pizza Express releasing 1,100 people. We've had various other retailers going bust. I was on the phone this morning. One of our wholesaler partners has just filed for administration, and we feel that the next box, we wanted to take a responsibility to tell people, you know, it's great to support at-home experiences, because for us it's our kind of bread and butter at the moment. But actually, we want people to be not using our experiences to go out to bars and to support bars, but also support the drinks brands that we work with. So hopefully, kind of the end of August, early September, people will see what we launch, and please keep an eye on our social channels for that. The second thing is pick a mix. So for anyone that's excited to try our cocktails and curate their own boxes, I've had lots of kind of hen-dos over the summer asking for kind of 20 pink martinis, and we're going to be able to do that from kind of next week onwards. So keep a lookout for that one. And then, I guess after that, it'll be, you know, fingers crossed, the economy's starting to kind of come back to normal, and come Christmas, we can release something really, really fun, maybe a bit kind of tongue in cheek and a little more, you know, fun and exciting for a Christmas experience. And I think that's really, for us, in terms of like a commercial product, I think Christmas for us this year, it's a really, really great gift for people to enjoy on Christmas Day. And hopefully, you know, by that point, people will have seen what we're all about, enjoy what we do, and have trust in us that we're going to deliver a great product around that time. So there's loads going on. And on the other side of the business, on the distribution side of Lyanna Collection, we're back into helping the brands that we represent build their distribution with the bars and the best bars in the UK. So we're now slightly more balanced as a business, and you know, I'm really, really excited for what's to come, although I'm quite aware that it's going to be a pretty stressful 2020 for everybody, but we're tight as a team, and we're looking forward to the challenge. I think it'll end up making us all a bit stronger.
Oh, amazing. Well, I could sit around and talk about cocktails all day. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to drink them, but I could definitely do it. But that's actually all we've got time for today. However, if you'd like to know more about anything we've spoken about in today's podcast, or if you're considering starting an experience-based brand yourself, get in touch with a member of either the Cubo or FIS team, and we would love to be a part of your new project. Thank you so much, David, for taking the time to speak to us today. It's been fascinating and so exciting. I can't wait to see what your brand holds next, and I'm definitely going to be ordering some cocktails because I can't wait to try them. But until next time, everyone, bye-bye.
Amazing. Thanks, guys. Cheers, mate.
Bye.